Hello everyone, how you doing today? Welcome back to the channel. It's your first time. Well, tell you a little bit about myself. No, I'm not gonna do that. Anyway, so what do we want to talk about? I wanted to talk about my journey to the YouTube comments and about games that I find to be cut above and how those things go together. So every once in a while I make the mistake of venturing into YouTube comments on other videos, obviously, and entering into the fray. And I think that is oftentimes definitely a mistake. Now, there have been 3 games since I started gaming again at about a 10-year hiatus that have really hit the mark for me. And those are Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate 3, and Clear Obscure Expedition 33. And I think that these 3 games for the last, 3 years now, have been some of the best games that have come out in a very, very long time. And I said as much in the comments, and I kind of put some very brief explanation why I thought that. Obviously, my opinion, but I think that millions upon millions of people share those opinions. And what I want to talk about is why do people feel need to hate on those videos? Oh, good. Hello, young lady.
You did a good thing, but
what are you doing?
Important to follow the rules as a member of the OSF. Good luck.
You wanted to watch? What are you trying to watch? I did not wake you up. You were not asleep. How about you go back to bed? You always asleep? Alright, come here for a second. Come here. You want to say something? Alright, go ahead and say something.
Hi, Uncle.
Oh, Uncle's not playing. We're making a video. What do you want to say? You don't want to say anything? You're shy now? Okay. You gotta go to bed? Okay. All right, good night. Huh? Well, I can't really do this if you're sitting on my lap. What do you mean? You just watching the cool video? Yeah. Alright. Well, you're making me lose my train of thought there, kiddo. I'm gonna have to start all over again. No, as soon as you get off my lap and go to bed. It's late. Alright, I love you. Oh, my wonderful child, everyone. Alright, so back to those games. So, I think the discussion was something about Clear Obscure and how it's gotten a lot of praise. Of course, a bunch of people are like, well, what about this game? What about that game? Like, you know, that's all good and dandy. I like that people always tend to move the goalpost and expand the scope of the conversation when that's not really, you know, sort of the point. Like, you have a very specific comment to make, and then people go, well, what about, what about, what about, what about? And no matter how hard you try, they want to sort of derail the conversation and then start insulting you and telling you that the games you like are mid, even though, you know, there's probably 1 million, 2, 3, 10 million people that would disagree with them. And I just find it very entertaining. So this person decided to say that, you know, Clear Obscure was mid and just sort of blew my mind, and I didn't really understand what they thought was a great game. They really never said anything, and then they only said a few others later after I kind of prodded them, because I really wanted to have sort of a deeper conversation as you could have in the YouTube comments, which I think is about as successful as you would on any social media platform. And it just didn't happen. And I'll engage like 3-4 comments in, try to turn someone around, and I'm sure we've all fell victim to that once or twice. Nobody's perfect. And I'm not going to engage. I think I'm just going to do the post and ghost, say what I'm going to say, and then just let the goblins and the roaches take over from there. Yeah, but it kind of blew my mind. And let's get back to the game. So what I thought about these games, obviously Elden Ring was just probably the most accessible Souls game out there. It can be hard, it can be easy, depending on how you choose to play the game, your experiences with other Souls-like games. And it had an open world, you know, so there weren't like a whole lot of new things happening, but what it didn't do was hold your hand, put yellow paint everywhere, give you a quest guideline to follow. You're kind of left to your own devices. And for me, coming back to gaming, you know, being probably slightly older than most people on YouTube as far as gaming goes, was rather refreshing, because I've played, you know, the Ubisoft open worlds, the Divisions, you know, the Breakpoints, you know, kind of years after they came out, because like I said, I had a pretty large break, and they're very hand-holdy. You know, the orange lines, the yellow paint, you know, go here, everything's highlighted. It's not really a mystery to figure out what these things are. And on top of that, you really need them in a lot of these games. And that's what made Elden Ring very appealing. That and combat was a lot of fun. The artistry was something else, and if you cared to pay attention to the lore, you'd kind of figure out what was going on. And I don't know, I always dug that kind of thing. And it is, you know, a challenge in many places. I might have thrown my controller once or twice. That's neither here nor there. And there was a lot of things to do, and you know, there are multiple blendings in the new Game Plus that, you know, you just keep going and try and do different areas. And it was fun because the people that are playing at the same time as we would talk about it, you know, and because of how they were building their character out, or the direction they went someplace I didn't, I went someplace they didn't. Some bosses were easy for them, while they're hard for me, and vice versa. That's kind of what I thought was very intriguing. Then, along came Baldur's Gate 3, and I think this was another, you know, sort of 10 out of 10 game that a lot of people weren't expecting. And what was great about Baldur's Gate 3 is that it's not a traditional genre that is commercially viable for a lot of companies. It is a CRPG, you know, sort of the turn-based combat. It's a CRPG. It is turn-based, but it's also, you've got you know, limited steps. You can't move around a lot, so it lends yourself very well to a casual player where you kind of just enter into battle and you can go do something else, because there's not going to be anything you can do about the combat per se. And those games are not traditionally super popular. They are very niche in a lot of ways, and Baldur's Gate 3 just found a way to make it happen. I mean, it was beautifully crafted. There were a million different ways you can play the game, which was, I think, absolutely intriguing, and, you know, leads you to be able to play the game over and over and over again. Guess what? You don't need DLC. You don't need live service updates. it's just
Major others are others
very,
that
very
have
special in that
members of
regard.
the past.
And then, of course, what we're talking about now, Claire Obscure. I'm gonna call it a JRPG, even though I have a problem with that because it's not Japanese. But I think the consensus is that JRPGs tend to be turn-based combat, more or less. Um, and I think that's sort of the real basics of it, how the battle is done with like a party system and all that. Distinct from CRPGs, obviously. These are more sort of top-down and very restricted to movement. And you got sort of like, terrain stuff you can move around and combat. Not so much in JRPGs. But this one was very engaging. This is probably the coolest way I think you could do a modern JRPG, turn-based JRPG, which I think Final Fantasy had gotten away from. And I played 15 and 16, and I played the remake. I haven't played Rebirth, but those are the action combat games, which is fine. I guess it'll appeal to more people, but to me, it's sort of sacrilege in a lot of ways. I really miss the games like Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 10, where it was turn-based. You selected your thing. Legends of Dragoon had a bit of a combat like timing system where you could like make your attack stronger. I don't know if you could block or parry. I don't remember. It's so long ago. But I know that you could like hit stronger if you timed your attacks properly. And then of course it's Clarifiers can be difficult. Very Souls-like in a lot of ways, where the pairing system, which is kind of essential to sort of burning down tougher bosses, can be difficult because the animation sequences, if you don't know the fights right away. There's a decent amount of variety in the areas and the enemies that you don't get used to any particular attack pattern, unless of course you've died a few times and figured out how to do it. And I'm not going to say anything new here, but the game is beautiful. Music is phenomenal. And the game tends to make fun of itself in some ways. Like there are certain parts that are, say, less than serious, which is just very refreshing because it's not the like millennial type writing. It's just good, like sort of memeing a little bit with itself and sort of poking fun at some other things. It's just an experience you have to go through to understand and play the game. Like it's a game I wish that I could experience for the first time again, and I just don't think that'll happen. But it's definitely worth a playthrough. I beat the game in like 40 hours. Another 20 hours or so, you could probably like 100% it with all the bigger Uber bosses, and never get any weapons to level 20, which is max. So there's definitely other things to do, but about 35, 40 hours is what you can expect from the sort of story. And man, it's so good. I hope that, and I don't think they will because of Final Fantasy 16, but I think that if Square Enix could somehow get back to turn-based, it would much improve their current lineup, I should say. And I think Claire Obscure and the people at Sandfall Interactive proved that you can make turn-based games entertaining and engaging and sell well. I don't know if they're going to sell to the extent that Square Enix requires, but obviously some people like the game. And I mean, I don't have anything else to say. I think if you're going to hate on these games, you're hating on it to to be cool, and I don't know who you're trying to be cool for. I guess you're trying to up your internet cred and do that like I was not cool before not cool was cool kind of thing. It's very hipstery. I don't know if that dates me as a millennial. I don't know if they use the hipster terminology anymore, but that's what I'm going with. It's very, very millennial hipster of you to hate on something that is clearly well made. It's on UE5, I believe, and it performs fantastic, which is something I cannot say for a lot of UE5 games. And I don't know. You gotta try these games out. I think they're fantastic. I think that for as much the industry sort of ignoring what people want to see in games, trying to appeal to whatever the hell modern audiences are. I don't think anyone's found the modern audience yet. The modern audience, I will tell you from what I've seen, is a mythical unicorn that does not exist, or it's like the 60 people that played what's that game? I don't even remember what it's called anymore. Oh my goodness. Concord, there we go. Yeah, I think all the people that are hating on Sandfall, are the same people that hated on FromSoft and Larian and the guys who made Black Myth. Oh my goodness, that's another good one. Oh man, that's so good. Let's see, let's go to the store page just so I can remember. Game Science. Yeah, so I'd say in the last 3 or 4 years, my top games, I had a top 5. Definitely top 4 would be Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate, and Clair Obscur. And I'd have to say that for my preferences, Clair Obscur is at the top of those. And that's that. I mean, I hope that the guys in the YouTube comments and anyone that's listening to this, you know, have an open mind and understand that, just because you don't like it doesn't mean that it's not a fantastic game. And, just because it sells a lot of copies does also not mean it's good. And I think Assassin's Creed probably sold a lot of copies, maybe, who knows, but we all know that's not good, and that's just because, you're going to get that broad audience of people who don't pay attention. And maybe that's hypocritical me saying it after just ranting this long about, opinions and objective games, but what I'm talking about is not the formulaic, sort of corporatized games that everyone expects to do well, but sort of the outside the box games, the challenging, hard, difficult, no guidance games, the CRPGs, the JRPG turn-based old school games that are coming back in a big way with good storytelling, great character development, and, no modern audience fail guard tropes. And I hope it keeps going that way. The single A, double A dependent studios can have all the money, and the triple A's can, I don't know, go to mobile and macro transaction themselves into oblivion. Well, let me know what you think. Am I off base? Am I right on cue? Do I need to work on this? Do I need to script this so it sounds better? And I just go off the cuff. Thanks for watching, guys, and I don't know what I'm going to play next, but we'll figure it out. And maybe I'll catch you watching me watch Stellar Blade happen in front of my screen when it comes to PC next month. We all had a great Memorial weekend. Take care.
From now on, our orders will be sent directly from above. You can't refuse a deployment order. Go to the designated place at the designated time and carry out your mission. You can take on suppression assignments and training at your leisure, but don't slack off too much.
Crows.
They'll be here soon. We're jamming them, but it's just a matter of time.
If you have any further questions, ask Wataru. Okay, back to Suo.
Captain, can I be excused here? I want to make a stop.
Do you have to do it right now?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Yeah, fine. Do whatever you want.
Love you, Captain.